Number one is don't price your place too low. If there's anything that I've learned is that a low price, lowering your price does not help you in any way. Remember, you have to account for wear and tear. So if people book your place just because the price is low, the furniture and appliances ends up losing its value quicker than if you are not getting any bookings, right? And another thing is pricing your place low attracts the wrong type of guests to your property. I cannot stress this enough. A low price attracts low quality guests. You have people who be coming to your place and not respecting your house rules, not respecting your property, leaving your place damaged, some items stolen, or simply rude guests. Do not price your place lower than the competitive rate set. Profit margins will be really low if you have that, and your wear and tear will be fast. So do not price your place low, it attracts the wrong type of guests. That's not what you want. Number two is cleaners. Finding a reliable cleaner has been one of the hardest things ever. I know some people use cleaning companies. I personally do not like using cleaning companies because I feel like just having one cleaner that cleans my Airbnb or my Airbnbs well is perfect. That way she knows my space, she knows exactly what's missing. When it's missing, she knows when restocks need to be done, she's done proper training for the place. With having a cleaner, one thing that I've learned over the years is I am too nice. I'm a kind person and I feel like I've been too nice with my cleaners. So I've learned that you need to still be kind, but be firm, right? Because sometimes they end up disrespecting you, point out something that this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong. And your cleaner, just because you've been nice to them, they take advantage of that, right? So even with your cleaners, you still need to be kind, but be firm, right? That's what I've learned. You get taken advantage on if you are not firm because you're no longer the boss. You're a friend now. So people have opinions and yeah. So your cleaner has an opinion. The business is basically her business at that point and she doesn't really listen to you that much. So you need to still be firm, be very, very firm. Don't be afraid to tell the person that you fire them just now. Do not be afraid to fire people when they mess up. I've had a cleaner sabotage me. I'll call it sabotage because I was getting very low ratings on the cleanliness. And what I did do is I paid impromptu visit to the property. And when I got there, I understood why the ratings were so low with the cleaning. And when I asked the cleaner, she came up with some silly excuses. And I knew that I was to blame because I had always been nice. And I always said, oh, maybe they're rating low because they wanted a late checkout and I didn't offer them a late checkout. Or maybe they're rating low because until I saw a consistent complaint of cleanliness, and that's when I knew that no, I need to actually pay a visit, something is wrong, and check on my property. So you need to be firm with your cleaners, but still be kind. I cannot stress the kind part enough because you don't want somebody who's afraid to tell you anything. You don't want maybe your cleaner has burned a sheet or they have burned something or they've broken a glass while they were cleaning and they're afraid to tell you just because you'll fire them or you're like, I don't want to say too firm or too harsh. And then they don't report it and then a guest comes and they stay. And then after the guest stays, you find that the sheet is burned and you blame it on the guest and the cleaner also blames it on the guest because they're too afraid to tell you. That is also going to affect your ratings and you might have lost somebody who would be coming to your property and booking your property again right in the future. Number three is having more Airbnbs helps to balance your profit margins, right? So once you started your Airbnbs and you are on the scaling phase, maybe you've scaled to 2 or 3, whatever number it is that you scaled to, having more than one Airbnb helps to balance out the numbers. Say for instance, also you have 2 Airbnbs. This Airbnb didn't do particularly well. Maybe you weren't able to meet the demand or whatever reason it might have been, and this Airbnb did really well. You might find that if you're doing the rental arbitrage model, then the profits from this Airbnb, you can just use it to pay the rent and expenses from this one. Other than if you just had one Airbnb and you didn't do well, then you have to pay the money from pocket, right? So having more than one Airbnb balances everything out. Another thing I've learned is always optimize your listing. Do not ever think that you're just going to have a property, you're going to put it on Airbnb, you're going to get bookings, and you're just going to leave it, right? Always optimize, even if it means you dedicate time one day every week to go through your property or properties. Go on that one day every week. You say, okay, let me just change the description this week, or let me just move this picture and put it here, or let me just change the cover picture and put this cover picture, or let me just change the pricing a bit, or let me just set up this discount. Always, and I repeat, always optimize your listings, because you want the apps to know that as a host you're actively trying to improve your listing, which tells them that if you're trying to improve your listing, you are a host that they need on their platform, because you're striving and working on improving your listing all the time. And chances are, if you are working on your listing, maybe you've added more items on your listing, maybe you didn't have a Kitzel and now you've added a Kitzel, right? It means that you can now reach a more wider audience or more guests, and more people can book your place, right? So always set the time aside every week or bi-weekly or monthly or whatever time that you set aside to optimize your listings. Go in and check and say, okay, maybe change the house rules. Maybe somebody broke something and didn't report. Add it to the house rules now. Add it to the house rules. Right on the house rules that I had, if you break an item, you have to replace it. Another thing I've learned is go through each platform's policies, right? Know them by head, know your rights. Literally know your rights, because if you do not know your rights, or you do not know the policies, right? I'll call them your rights. But if you do not know the policies, then you end up getting bullied by the customer service on that particular platform. So you need to know your policies. Another policy that you could be looking at, maybe it's your cancellation policy. Maybe you've written that the guest needs to cancel 30 days before check-in, and now you have a guest that wants to cancel 5 days before check-in because of so and so reason, and now you feel penalized to give them a refund, even though it goes against your cancellation policies. You might find that you have Airbnb contacting you to say, okay, maybe offer the guest a partial refund, or offer the guest a refund. And you might feel pressured if you don't know the policies, that no, if it's on your house rules, you can cancel 30 days, you can't cancel 30 days before. What is it? If your policy says you're only allowed to cancel 30 days before check-in, and the guest is trying to cancel 5 days before they check-in, you can be firm about it and be like, no, I'll not be offering any refund to this guest, right? So know the policy so that you don't get bullied by customer service or whoever it is, or the guest on the platform. Another thing I've learned is hospitality never goes out of fashion, right? Remember that Airbnb is a hospitality business. Hospitality never goes out of fashion. Never be afraid to go above and beyond for your guest, right? And I know sometimes you might go above and beyond for a guest, and then something happens and they give you low ratings. Do not ever let it discourage you, because there's going to be a guest that's going to come and they're going to appreciate the effort that you put into a place. So hospitality goes a long way. If it means adding toiletries into your Airbnb, simple toothpaste, add it, right? Because a lot of people travel, and there's some items that we always forget because we're always in a rush. Put the items in your Airbnb. If a guest is asking for an early check-in and you can give them an early check-in, allow them to check in early, right? Allow them to check in early. If you want to charge, some people do charge an early check-in fee. I do not charge an early check-in fee, simply because that's the policy that I set for myself, that if the place is ready at that particular time, I'll allow the guest to check in early. Be kind to every guest that books your place. You are offering them. I know a lot of people, you think Airbnb is just a place where people come and book and they do whatever they want to do, and then they leave. A property where they book for 2 days or 3 days or a week, and they do whatever they want to do and they leave, right? To me, hospitality means you're stepping into my home and I'm going to create an experience for you that caters for your needs at this particular time. So if my guest is booking and they're a business traveler, right, I'm going to make sure that they have pens, pencils, markers, sticky notes, whatever it is that it might help them during their stay, to make their stay a little more convenient. If it means that somebody's planning a little surprise for their partner, I'm more than willing, if I have the time, to go and set it up for them and create that experience for my guest and their partner. One thing I've learned is do not be uptight, right? Be yourself. It's gonna sound like I'm crazy, but I think that I'm funny. I think I'm very, very funny. I think I'm a very funny person, and you can see it with my interaction with the guest. I had a guest that booked my Airbnb, and he booked, I think it was like 4 nights, and it was a student that had booked my Airbnb, so he just needed some time away to get away from school. It was after exams, so they were booking my place to just reset and relax. So the guest asked me if would you allow me to bring my PlayStation? Am I allowed to bring up my PlayStation to play at your Airbnb? And I was like, no, no. And then while he was busy typing, I was like, unless you invite me over to play with you. And then we just laughed about it. So that creates a nice, friendly environment for the guests. They know that if something happens, it's easy for them to reach out to you. And the best part about your guests being able to reach out to you is you get to solve issues as they go, other than if you're quiet and some things happen and you get to know about it when the guest is leaving a review, right? Hospitality never goes out of fashion, right? And I mean, at the end of the day, you're running a hospitality business, right? So it never goes out of fashion. I know sometimes there's going to be guests who are like rude to you. There's going to be guests who try to swindle you, whatever it is. Do not let those guests outweigh the good of guests that are actually genuinely going to appreciate your efforts. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section, and then in the next video I'll try to answer the questions, or if I can answer them in the comment section, that's exactly what I'll do. See you next time for part 2.